Okay, welcome to the day 3 of the Gita reading marathon. We'll start as usual. Let's close our eyes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 3 Karma Yoga. Arjuna Vacha. Arjun said, Krishna, if you consider knowledge as superior to action, why then do you urge me to this dreadful action? Keshav, you are, as it were, puzzling my mind by these seemingly conflicting expressions. So tell me one definite discipline by which I may attain the highest good. So Sri Bhagwan said, Arjun, in this world, two courses of sadhana have been enunciated by me in the past. In the case of the Sankhya Yogi, the sadhana proceeds along the path of knowledge, whereas in the case of the Karma Yogi, it proceeds along the path of action. One does not attain freedom from action without entering upon action, nor does one reach perfection merely by ceasing to act. So it's surely no one can remain inactive even for a moment, for everyone is helplessly driven to act by modes of the Prakriti. One who outwardly restraining the organs of sense and action sits mentally dwelling on the objects of senses, that person of deluded intellect is called a hypocrite. On the other hand, one who controlling the organs of sense and action by the power of their will and remaining unattached undertakes the karma yoga, yoga of selfless action through those organs, Arjun, he excels. Therefore, do perform your allotted duty, for action is superior to inaction. Desisting from action, you cannot even maintain your own body. One is bound by their own action except when it is performed for the sake of yajna. Yajna meaning the act by which knowledge dawns. Therefore, Arjun, do efficiently perform your duty, free from attachment and identification, for this attainment of knowledge alone, or in service of knowledge alone. Having created humankind along with the yajna, at the beginning of creation, the creator Brahma said to the humans, you shall prosper by this, may this yield all the enjoyments you seek. Foster the Devas through this sacrifice and let the Devas be gracious to you, thus each fostering the other selflessly, you will attain the highest good. Fostered by the yajnas, the Devas will surely bestow on you unasked all the desired enjoyments. One who enjoys the gifts bestowed by them without offering anything to them in return is undoubtedly a thief. The virtuous who partake of what is left over after the yajna are absolved of all sins. Those sinful ones who cook for the sake of nourishing their bodies alone partake of sin only. So the devas here can mean the forces of nature, like Indra is the the energy associated with rains, and then like that, fire, air. So there are 33 categories of the devas, and it's mistranslated as gods here. It is energies, different divine energies, different forces, natural forces. All beings are evolved from food. The food is produced by rain. Rain comes from the yajna, and the yajna is rooted in the prescribed action. Know that the prescribed action has its origin in the Vedas, and the Vedas proceed from the indestructible. Hence, the all pervading infinite is always present in yajna. Arjun, he who does not follow the wheel of creation thus set, going in this world, that is, does not perform their duties, leads a sinful and sensual life and lives in vain. One who, however, takes delight in the self alone and is gratified with the self with a capital S, big self, and is contented in the self has no duty left. In this world, that great soul has nothing to gain by action, nor by abstaining from action, nor do they have any selfish dependence of any kind on any creature. Therefore, go on efficiently doing your duty at all times without attachment. Doing work without attachment, one attains the supreme. It is through action without attachment alone that Janak and other wise ones reached perfection. Having in view the maintenance of the world order too, you should take to action. For whatever a great person does, the very thing others also do. Whatever standard they set up, the generality of humans follow the same. Arjun, there is no duty in all the three worlds for me to perform, nor is there anything worth attaining unattained by me, yet I continue to work. Should I not engage in action scrupulously at any time, great harm will come to the world. For Arjun, the humans follow my way in all matters. If I ever cease to act, these worlds would perish. I should prove to be the cause of confusion and of destruction of these people. Arjun, as the unwise act with attachment, so should the wise one, with a view to maintain the world order, act without attachment. A wise one established in the self should not unsettle the mind of the ignorant who are attached to action, but should get them to perform all their duties, duly performing his own duty. In fact, all actions are being performed by the modes of Prakriti. The fool, whose mind is deluded by egoism, thinks I am the doer. However, he who has the true insight into the respective spheres of gunas and their actions, holding that it is the gunas that move among the gunas, does not get attached to them. The gunas in the form of the senses move among the gunas which are the objects of perception. It is just the gunas sattva, rajas, tamas moving in itself. Those who are completely deluded by the gunas, the qualities of Prakriti, remain attached to those gunas and actions. The person of perfect knowledge should not unsettle the mind of those ignorants of imperfect knowledge. Therefore, dedicating all actions to me, with your mind fixed to me, the self of all, freed from desire and the feeling of meanness, and cured of mental agitation, fight, letting go of all feverishness. Even those who with an wavering and devout mind always follow this teaching of mine are released from the bondage of all actions. But they, however, who finding faults with this teaching do not follow it, take those fools to be deluded in the matter of all knowledge as lost. All living creatures follow their tendencies. Even the wise ones act along according to their tendencies. Of what use is any external restraint? So, craving and aversion are rooted in all sense objects. A person should not never allow themselves to be swayed by them because they are the two principal enemies standing in the way of this redemption, of their redemption. One's own duty, though devoid of merit, is preferable to the duty of another well performed. Even death in the performance of one's own duty brings blessedness. Another's duty is fraught with fear. Arjun says, now, impelled by what Krishna does this person commit sin even involuntarily as though driven by force? Sri Bhagwan said, it is desire begotten of the element of rajas which appears as wrath. It is insatiable and grossly wicked. Know this to be the enemy in this case. Just as fire is covered by smoke, mirrored by dust, and an embryo is covered by the amnion, so is the knowledge covered by desire. In Arjun, knowledge stands covered by this eternal enemy of the wise known as desire, which is insatiable like the fire. The senses, the mind, and the intellect are declared to be its seat. Covering the knowledge through these, the desire deludes the embodied soul. Therefore, Arjun, you must first control your senses and then kill this evil thing which obstructs jnana, the knowledge of the absolute, and the vijnana, the knowledge of the manifest divinity or nature. The senses are said to be greater than the body. Greater than the senses is the mind. Greater than the mind is the intellect. And what is greater than the intellect is the self. Thus, Arjun, knowing the self, which is higher than the intellect, and subduing the mind by reason, kill this enemy in the form of desire. That is hard to overcome. Om Tatsaditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Karma Yogo Nama Tritiyodhyaya. There ends the fourth chapter on Karma Yoga, the third chapter on Karma Yoga. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Chapter 4. Shri Bhagwan said, I revealed this immortal yoga to Vivaswan, the sun. The sun conveyed it to Manu. Manu imparted it to his son Ikshvaku. Thus transmitted in succession from father to son, this yoga remained known to all the royal sages. Through long lapse of time, this yoga got lost to the world. This same ancient yoga, which is the supreme secret, has this day been imparted to you by me, because you are my devotee, my dear one and friend. Arjun said, you are of recent origin, while the birth of Vivaswan dates back to remote antiquity. How then am I to believe that you imparted this yoga at the beginning of the creation? Sri Bhagwan said, Arjun, you and I have passed through many births. I remember them all, you do not remember. O chastiser of foes, though birthless and immortal and the lord of all beings, I manifest myself through my own yoga maya. the divine potency, keeping my nature under control. Arjun, whenever righteousness is on the decline, unrighteousness is on the ascendant, then I come back in order to uphold the righteousness. For the protection of the virtuous, for the termination of the evil, and for us re-establishing the dharma, the righteousness, on a firm footing, I manifest myself from age to age. Arjun, my birth and activities are divine. One who knows this in reality is not reborn on leaving this body but comes to me, completely rid of attachment, fear, and anger, totally absorbed in me, relying on me, and purified by the penance of wisdom. Many have become one with me even in the past. Arjun, howsoever one seeks me, even so do I respond to them. For all those who all follow my path in every way. In this world of humans, those seeking the fruition of their activities worship the devas. For success born of actions follows quickly. The four orders of the society were created by me, classifying them according to the gunas, the qualities predominant in each, and apportioning corresponding duties to them. Though the originator of this creation know me, the Lord, immortal Lord, to be a non doer. Since I have no craving for the fruit of actions, actions do not taint me. Even one who knows me in reality thus is not bound by actions. Having known thus, action was performed even by the ancient seekers of liberation. Therefore, do you also perform actions as have been performed by the ancients. What is action? What is inaction? What is karma? What is akarma? Even wise ones, intelligent ones are puzzled over this question. Therefore, I shall expound it to you the truth about the action, knowing which you will be freed from its evils, effects, the shackles of karma. The truth about action must be known, and the truth of inaction also must be known. Also, the truth about prohibited action must be known. Mysterious are the ways of karma. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is wise among humans, is a yogi who has performed all the actions. Even the wise call them a sage whose undertakings are free from desire and worldly intentions, sankalpas, and whose actions are burnt up by the fire of wisdom. One who, having totally given up the attachment to actions and their fruit, no longer depends on anything in the world and is ever content, does nothing at all, even though fully engaged in action. Having subdued their mind and body, giving up all objects of enjoyment and free from craving, one who performs sheer bodily action does not incur sin. The Karma Yogi, contented with whatever is got unsought, is free from jealousy and has transcended all pairs of opposites like joy and grief, and is balanced in success and failure, and is not bound by any action. All their action get dissolved entirely, who is free from attachment and has no identification with the body, and has no identification with anything, and is free from the feeling of me, my. one whose mind is established in the knowledge of the self, and who works merely in service of the knowledge for the yajna. This is the verse Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahmakarma Samadhina. In the practice of seeing Brahman everywhere as a yajna, Brahman is the ladle by which the offering happens. Brahman is the offering itself. Brahman is the fire. Brahman itself is the one who is offering. And Brahman itself constitutes the act of pouring the offering into the fire. And Brahman is the goal to be reached by one who is absorbed in Brahman as the act itself, as the karma itself. Other yogis duly offer sacrifice only in the shape of worship to the devas, while others perform sacrifice. Other yogis perform yajna in the shape of worship. Others perform the yajna by offering the self by the self itself in the fire of Brahman through the yajna known as the perception of identity. Others offer their senses of hearing, etc., into the fires of self discipline. Other yogis offer sound and other objects of perception into the fire of senses. Yet others sacrifice all the functions of their senses and the functions of the prana into the fire of yoga in the shape of self control, kindled by wisdom. Some perform the yajna with material possessions, some in the shape of austerities, others through the practice of yoga, while some striving souls observing austere vows perform the yajna in the shape of wisdom through the self-study. Others offer the act of exhalation into inhalation and inhalation into exhalation. There are others also given to the practice of pranayam who, having regulated their diet and controlled the processes of exhalation and inhalation, both pour their prana into the prana itself. All these have their sense consumed away by the yajna and understand the meaning of the yajna. Arjun, yogis who enjoy the nectar that has been left after the performance of the yajna attain the eternal Brahman. To the one who does not engage in the yajna, even this world is not happy. How then can the other world be happy? They do not find happiness even in this world. How can they find happiness in the other world? So we'll take a pause there for today. Shanti.